Hello. So it's Monday and it's my day off. So I really enjoy Mondays. I know most of the world hates Mondays, but I really like them. So I thought I'd chat about the things that happened this weekend, which was the straw poll in Iowa. And yay, Michelle Bachmann won. Which goes to show that we are damn sure willing to vote for crazy. And that's their choice, I guess. I think the straw poll is weird. It's like 17,000 people vote and all the news people cover it. And, 17,000 people in America, you could probably get 17,000 people to agree to any crazy thing. But anyway, we follow it. And she won. But she won by this much. Like this much. She was at 29% and Ron Paul was at 28%. We haven't seen Ron Paul anywhere. And Michelle Bachmann was on every news show yesterday, you can imagine. And I got to witness her on Meet the Press. And she was very weird in her answers in that she seemed to be answering some question, but it really wasn't ever the one that David Gregory was posing to her. So that was interesting to watch, and how she thinks that maybe that's going to work. And I don't know, maybe it will. But at least she doesn't just stay on Fox. Sarah Palin never does an interview with anybody else. She did talk to the CNN guy when they were at the stand-up at Iowa, but she never goes and does an interview or anything like that with anybody other than Fox. But anyway, let's get back to Michelle Bachmann, because she was asked a number of questions about tax policy and all kinds of stuff that were really weird answers, but her weirdest answers were when they confronted her about her stance on gay people. And she has been so vocal about this, and I totally disagree with her about all of it, but I kind of understood, this is where she stands. And I think it's terrible, but okay, at least that's where she stands. She doesn't think that they deserve the same rights. She said in a speech that gay people are sad people who live a destructive lifestyle, who are destined to, just live a terrible, terrible life. And so she really, really did do a lot of judgment. And then she gets on there, and David Gregory asks her questions about stuff that she has considered a defining thing in her political career, and she really didn't want to answer the question. She would answer some question that really wasn't that question. She, when she was asked if she would appoint an openly gay person in her administration, she's like, well, I just wouldn't answer that. I wouldn't ask that question. But, she's like, I don't judge. And every single thing she says, I judge you, and I judge that you're a bad person. So it's weird that she thinks that you can just hear that and then go, oh, well, she doesn't judge, but she just did. But that doesn't count. Okay. And Tim Pawlenty is out. Bye-bye, T-Paw. And hello, Rick Perry. Hello, Box of Hair from Texas. What I think is interesting about him is that he's made this huge splash. But the number 26 is really important for him, because that's how many years he has been in elected office, which means there's 26 years of votes and behaviors and speeches and papers and everything under the sun. And he has that Texas swagger that people still aren't over from George Bush. And according to a lot of people, the Bushes don't like Rick Perry. They supported Kay Bailey Hutchinson against him for governor last time. But he's an interesting politician. He's a good politician, so he will be an interesting addition. But what I really think will happen is he will split the vote with Michelle Bachmann, because he and Michelle Bachmann are the same. Although, Perry Palin sounds interesting to watch. It sounds terrifying because, but it would be interesting. What else happened? Oh, I watched Dateline Sunday night, and it was very interesting because it profiled this really small town in Georgia, and it's on the East Coast, not on the coast, but it's really close, and it has about 3,000 people in it. 67% African American, rest mostly white, some Hispanic in there, but mostly white. And it profiled this white woman who owned a restaurant in the town, and the town's industry was mostly building. So when the housing market crashed, everybody left. And so her restaurant failed. But they showed her home, and she said herself, they spent so much money, and they did. You should have seen this home. It was huge, and it had an in-ground pool and Australian distressed hardwood floors, she said, and granite countertops and all this kind of stuff. And And I'm not sure how she ever thought that a restaurant in a town of 3,000 people was going to support a lifestyle like that with a child who wants to go to UGA on a full ride and all that kind of stuff. I mean, and so what happened is she lost it. They were still able to make the mortgage payment, so I'm not sure how that happened because her husband lost his job too. But the crux was that they had to go on Medicaid because they had to have some insurance for the child. And they were embarrassed about it. And what I find amazing about that is that you go to many of these small towns in the South. I live in the South, and the white people are Republican. They just are. They're going to vote Republican. They're Republican. And they go to these rallies and they support these guys who stand up there going, we're going to cut all these programs. We're going to cut these entitlement programs. At the same time, and they're going, yeah, at the same time, they're collecting it. They're collecting the entitlement program. And so they're voting for the government that they've got. They've got the one that's going to shrink everything down. And they're using the services of the government that they don't want anymore. Which seems odd to me. Maybe it's not to them. But I haven't the slightest idea how you justify screaming that, you don't want anybody to get anything that they didn't work for at the same time when you're applying for help with, medical care and food stamps or whatever. I don't begrudge any of those people asking for any of those things. What I begrudge is them asking for them and privately and publicly going, nobody should get them. And that's what bothers me. So that's my thing. That was what I did this weekend. It was my birthday on Friday, so I went and rode roller coasters at Six Flags, and I had a great time. And the Daredevil dive is, it's scary. So I hope y'all have a good week. Thanks.